Your vote for the best light mech in the game. That one light mech, no matter the situation, no matter the lance build, no matter the mission, is just going to excel. It does everything really, really well, taking the design mechanics of the game, leveraging it. A mech I love to play, a mech that I hate facing, but I respect it. What would be your vote? So within that, before we jump into my vote and your vote, this idea of a framework in Battletech, a narrative. We've got two things. We've got the rules themselves, and there's mech creation rules and how heat and range and weapons and armor and speed and all that stuff translates to the tabletop. This is a confined environment. There's a lot of things that you can do in Battletech. And to sidebar for a moment, this is the idea behind any type of wargaming system rule set. To take a vision, to take a narrative, translate it to rules, and give you options to recreate those rules. Some are very, very complex. Some are very, very simple. And there's going to be good points and bad points in how those rules operate. So we've got this idea of Battletech, the narrative of it, translating to there. What this means, yes, it defines what you can do and what you can't do. But at the same time, just based on the rules, and this is not a criticism of Battletech, this is true of any rule set, there's just certain things that a rule set is going to favor over other things. Just based on the rules matrix, certain things are going to be better than others, more prevalent than others. So within that, certain mechs and certain machines based on configurations are going to rise to the top and others are going to kind of fall by the wayside. This is called the meta. This is the theory hammer of the game. But Battletech is interesting in that it starts with the narrative itself. And there's this idea, a little bit of history, looking at the Star League, the fall of the Star League, this idea of the importance of mechs starting with the Mackie. And in the Battletech universe, once the mech was dominant, everybody's trying to cash in on that. Everybody's selling mechs. Everybody's selling machines. And some design philosophies were make something really, really potent and powerful, like the Stalker. You see it coming and you can't stop it. Others are a matter of just being pragmatic. We see the Enforcer, House Davian, right? They have some mech facilities. They need to produce locally a machine. These are the resources they have. This is what the facility can do. That's in the narrative. So then you translate that to the tech manuals. And then there's some machines that are very, very specific for a specific role, like the Firestarter or the Vulcan. Then there's some machines that kind of do something quirky, right? They were trying to do something to sell. You have the Valkyrie. So there's some machines in Battletech that they're not good. They're not bad. They're okay. They're solid. Then there's some that are just downright awful. And of course, in that narrative, sometimes you play that a campaign. Sometimes just it's a machine that you regularly play. I have some pretty awful mechs in terms of the meta, but the miniatures I've been playing for years and years, and they've been through so many battles, like I always play them, but I know what I'm getting involved in. Okay, now we've got that framework. So within that, my vote, it's going to the meta, that just this machine excels based on the meta. We're kicking that narrative by the side for a moment. And I didn't put up the splash page here because I didn't want to give it away. I could have put the machine up here and you're like, well, Fritz, we already know. The Jenner. Agree or disagree? And I should say Inner Sphere, Clan's different tech base. So the Jenner here, a light mech, all those check boxes it hits. Now, it doesn't get away for it for free. It's not a cheap battle value C-bill mech. But when we're trying to save the most that we can in terms of C-bills, in terms of battle value, but still get maximum performance, this machine does it. So the first thing is it's really, really fast. So you have the ability to protect yourself by staying far away, skirmishing, and if you have to engage, either you're forced to or you see a target of opportunity, then you have the speed to quickly close and move in. We have a very, very fast machine. We've got jump capability. So now it's going vertical. It's going up and down. And while While some might say, hey, jump is mandatory for light mechs, it's kind of mandatory for mediums if we're talking a generalized rule. As soon as you get into heavies and assaults, it's an absolute gimmick. So within that framework, and I had a friend recently ask me, sidebarring, just talking about jump jets, the mech creation rules, that extends to vehicles. And with some 3D printing stuff and different things that you can do, you could print your own vehicles. You can play your own vehicles. You can create your own vehicles. So we were looking through the tech manual because a friend of mine was like, hey, I want to make a vehicle. He's like, Fritz, I'm going to bring this vehicle to my next game. I really want to surprise you. And I love Battletech surprises. You want to cook up some mechs and vehicles? Don't tell me ahead of time, right? Let's spring it on me. Let's see what it can do. He's like, I want to put jump jets in a vehicle. Has that ever been done? And I know we have Lamb mechs and we have some other kind of things in Battletech that were kind of lore and canon but have been kind of pulled out, but you can play them. I'm like, vehicles with lift, vehicles with jump jets. I can't think of that at all. And we looked. I couldn't find it. That doesn't mean you can't do it, in theory. So on a sidebar, any vehicles with jump jets. So back to the Jenner, right? It's got jump jets. So I'm sacrificing nothing. I've got speed. I've got jump. Armor for a light mech. It's solid. There's machines that are lighter. There's machines that are heavier in terms of armor. But for a light mech packing everything in, it's solid. And again, on a sidebar Tactica, I pushed up to the Battletech playlist here. Staying alive in a light mech, right? Staying alive, distance, range, engagement. So the Jenner has that with the lift on the jump jets, and it has it with the ability to move fast. Now, here's where things get crazy. And you look at the tech manual, you're like, well, look, they fit it in somehow. The weapon loadout. The weapon loadout is equal or sometimes exceeds some medium mechs. You've got a short-range missile pack, which you can put in different rounds if you're using the total, or I should say different missiles to be technical, depending on Total Warfare and the rules. And you've got 4 medium lasers. That's crazy. Now, you don't quite have the heat to be firing those off every single turn, but a lot of inner sphere mechs at heavier weight classes don't have that. What this means, now, this is primarily a close-in machine, right? The range of it is close. It's tied in tandem to the lasers and the missiles. You're not plinking away with an LRM-5 or LRM-5 pack, or like the Valkyrie, you might have the medium lasers, but the main show is the long-range missiles that you're firing on a fast, short chassis with jump jets. But the fact that the Jenner is so fast means it can dart in, it can dart out, and really put the hurt on things. If you're a light mech, and that Jenner can get off some free shots or get off a volley, it could cripple you. It could take you out. Vehicles, it could run in, get rear armor, just pile on the crits and the motive hits. As part of a lance, if a Jenner gets rear armor, like if we're locked in and we're fighting and I can send a Jenner around, get rear armor or get side, that's kind of crazy. As an emergency crit seeker, it could do that. Sidebar for the new mech commanders, mech warriors. A crit seeker is where you've got a mech. It takes some damage, right? Left torso, left leg, right arm, right torso, center torso, right torso. And now it's broken in to the internals. So you've got that opening, you've got that gap. A crit seeker is a machine or a mech that has a variety of shots. And it's not so much about the damage. At this point, it's more about can you sneak something in when you fire to hit that internal, to blow it up or cause some sort of damage. So generally, the more weapons or a spread, it could do that. The Jenner has that. Doesn't have hands, but it can flip those paddles. So if you're running after it, it can start firing on the rear. If it's facing something, it could have one paddle flipping forward, one in the back, primary target ahead, secondary target behind, +1. It's crazy. It's one of the best light mechs, in my opinion. Agree? Disagree? Your vote for the best light mech.